I never really experienced NBA 2K's rank game mode where you're using the regular NBA teams. So just like college football or Madden, I have always played the regular rank mode where you're using the regular teams and roster. And I gotta say, 2K does their game mode much more better than what college football or Madden has ever presented. So right here you have a bunch of accolades that you can get from doing a bunch of various things like completing game goals. You can unlock, era teams, different years of certain teams that you can play with, or winning with every NBA team, current team, or all-time teams. So they got various things that you can accomplish, and this is something unique that Madden or college football has never had. So imagine if college football implemented a system where you have to win with like a tier 5 team, like a terrible team, 5 or 10 games in a row to unlock the next tier team to use, or play a certain amount of games or win a certain amount of games to play with like Alabama. This would be a great thing to do. So just like the tier system that college football has, NBA 2K has it with like the Bronze League. It's going to match you up with various players within that tier and so forth. College football just matches you up with anybody regardless. It doesn't matter what tier you're in. Now I wanted to see if 2K had a similar leaderboard rank system like college football and Madden where win-loss ratio doesn't really matter and it's just based off the amount of games you played and things of that sort. Now I was looking at the current season instead of the overall record, which I will showcase a little bit later, but you take a look at just the top 6 players based off the win-loss ratio, and right off the bat you can already tell that it's not done properly. So like the current first ranked player has 344 wins and 122 losses. He has more losses than any of the other players. And the other players has pretty much a better win-loss ratio, just not as much total games that has been played overall. So it goes to show that they have a similar ranking leaderboard system, just like college football and Madden, where it's just based off, points per game that you earn and not based off the win-loss ratio. So it's just total games and how much points you earn during that game. Now, as I was browsing through the current season top 100 players, I feel like this guy out of all the players possibly has the best overall record, just based off the win-loss. And I feel like he should be ranked number 1. Now, they do have players that go negative and they're ranked very high. Like this guy is currently ranked 28th. He has 196 wins and 227 losses. Like, yeah, you can still go negative and be ranked in the top 100. So the ranking leaderboard system is still busted even in 2K Sports. Now, if it was just based off win-loss ratio that mattered, this guy would certainly be ranked number 1. I mean, he's the only guy in the top 100 that has a total of 100 wins and no losses. Like this guy has a perfect win-loss ratio compared to everybody else. Just not as many games as everybody else played, but just based off win-loss, this guy would be ranked number 1 if that actually was the case. Now we take a look at the overall, the best of the best top 100 players. Now you take a look at this list, and of course, the guy that's ranked 5th in the world is going negative. He has 1,010 wins and 1,172 losses. So, once again, it still goes to show that you can go negative and be ranked this high. But the win-loss ratio does not matter in this case. Once again, it's just based off the skill points or the points that was earned during, the gameplay. So, the point system is based off the tier teams that you end up using. The more terrible teams, you get more points, and if you do win the game, I'm not sure how much points you get out of it, but if you do use a terrible team, you're going to get ranked higher because the amount of points you can accumulate by using those trash teams in comparison using the best team. Just want to showcase another guy that's going extremely negative. This guy is ranked 49th in the world, 773 wins, and over about 2,000 losses. That is wild. And to play that many games and lose that many times, I don't even know how that guy is still playing the game. Like, that's dedication, I guess, but I wouldn't be able to handle that. Now, we take a look at the tier system, just like college football, where you have, the best teams higher up in the tiers and the trash teams all separated, in the lower tiers. They have the same concept idea with NBA 2K. So, of course, you use the trash teams, that's in tier 3. You're going to get 3 skill points per game if you do win. In comparison to the other teams, tier 2 is 2 points and tier 1 is 1 point, obviously. So, I like this format. This format is great because it does separate you when you do connect with another user. Now, I wasn't paying attention when I did match up with this person, but like I said, they got a tier system based off the overall tier to match you up with somebody else that's kind of close to you. So I just started out, this is my first match, and of course, this is my opponent's 8th match. He has 3 wins and 4 losses. But as we matched up, I didn't really focus as well if we was matched up based off, the tier teams that we want to use. I'm pretty sure it's just like college football where you can just pick any tier system. It's going to match you up with anybody, even though you're trying to limit the search to the certain tier system of teams that you want to face. Like, if my opponent went with tier 1 and I went with tier 3 teams, it probably wouldn't matter. But it does showcase you do have a time limit to pick what type of teams that you get to choose from before you start the match to see if it's going to be an even match or not. So that's another plus, letting you see what your opponent picks before you continue to play. If you don't like the matchup in tier, you can obviously back out. But I enjoyed this because it also gives you a little bit more details of, not just the win-loss ratio, but the career accolades, what they unlock. Of course, the most used teams that your opponent ended up using. So in this case, he uses Miami Heat and New York Knicks for the most part. And that's just great to acknowledge and have. I feel like Madden college football needs this. So here's my first match ever of all time out of all the NBA 2Ks I ever played. This is my first time ever experiencing a regular play now ranked match. So of course I win the toss and I end up getting the first points with a 3-pointer. But I didn't experience any lag or delay, so that's another great thing. And then, of course, my opponent's just using the big man down below, and he's just going back and forth. Now, I'm not playing on ball. I just want to see how my opponent plays, and, of course, still clamp D by the computer if you don't play on ball defense. But you just see what my opponent does. He's just going back and forth. So that has been the thing in my player where people just go back and forth cheesing until you, get ankles broken, and then they have a free shot release for points. But he does get his missed shot back, does the same thing, gets some points, and then he calls a timeout. And as I'm trying to do a gameplay adjustment for the timeout, my opponent just suddenly quits. Very, very odd, but I take it, but I probably won't continue to play online head-to-head. I just want to experience and see if it's a better format than what I have always experienced with EA and college football Madden. And I can say 2K does a much more better job at what they deliver, especially the amount of details. But in comparison for the ranking system, it is done a little bit more better, but it still goes to show that win-loss ratio doesn't really matter. It's just total of games won and based off the skill points that you was able to earn during those games. So it's just a weird concept how ranking leaderboards has never been perfected in most games. But yeah, just want to give this a share to you guys. Like I said, this was my first time experiencing all this, so let me know what you guys think down below in the comments about this. Till next time, I'll see you guys later. I'm out. Peace.